Bob Arum is trying to run off on the plug Al Haymon after suing Al Haymon and reaching an agreement. And after suing Oscar De La Hoya sued Al beat the case. You know, two Harvard brothers just can't come together and make it happen, Captain, right? Bob Arum is now trying to recruit and steal some of the Premier Boxing Champion fighters and sign them to a top-ranked deal. It's your boy, CJ Goodfellow. We back with the Boxing Clinic and more. Y'all know what it is. Shout out to the LDBC. Shout out to the YTBC and everybody in between. Shout out to my brother, my Chicago brother, Fannon International Boxing Channel. And I seen this story first on Fannon, and I link his his video right along with the article link what Bob Arum told the Ring magazine. He said he had a lot of promising talks with some of these so-called Premier Boxing Champion Al Haymon advised fighters. He's found the loophole to try to come in and steal, Al Haymon's fighters. And how it goes is this. The point of him taking them to court and Oscar taking them to court is to say that he's not a manager and a promoter at the same time. That's a violation of the Muhammad Ali Act of Boxing. That law protects, the buffoonery that goes on with that, okay? But he's an advisor, so he's not even a manager or a promoter most of the time. Most of the time, I think he's exclusively an advisor, especially after these lawsuits. And what Bob Arum did with the lawsuit is kind of establish that he's an advisor, and now he can come in and steal his free agent promoted fighters. His free agent promoted fighters free agent promotional fighters, they are guys who used to be with Golden Boy, or some of them never been affiliated with a contract or hard contract with a promoter. Now you have some that are with a promoter like Deontay Wilder, Danny Jacobs, Carl Frampton, name a few others. James DeGale, Adonis Stevenson, But for the most part, a large chunk of his fighters and his popular fighters are promotional free agents. And Bob Arum is trying to, have talks with them, sit them down and try and sign them to a top-ranked deal. Now, we know a large majority of these, Premier Boxing Champion fighters are fighters that are, black Americans. You have, the UK guys like Lee Selby, I think he advises, and Carl Frampton, and Leo Santa Cruz, he's Mexican American, I believe, and guys like that. He does, spread it across the board. But for the large, part, people are starting to notice, what Al Haymon does to black fighters. They starting to see it. And, shout out to the Lions Den boxing community, everybody on the YouTube boxing community grind, who's really starting to put in work and bring awareness to Al Haymon's, the way he treats, black fighters. You could date it to Floyd. You could date it all the way now to a guy like Terrence Crawford. And Crawford is now exclusively fighting on a ESPN Plus app versus Jeff Horn after being an undisputed champion and a champion at 135 pounds, going for his third title in 3 different weight classes. He's fighting on the app exclusively while the guy in ESPN is paying to promote that Ryota Murata guy, whatever his name is, that beating the damn. He gets his own, TV day. I understand that it's in the morning, but still, you couldn't fit Crawford in. They didn't even do that. They gave a foreigner a TV day. They gave Jose Ramirez a TV day. And all of a sudden, when the black guy fights, it's on a ESPN Plus app. And people say, well, there's 12 more fights on there. When have you seen a pound-for-pound fighter like y'all say Crawford is? And I have a vacant, but I think he's the best available fighter right now. Fight on such a closed, a closed circuit, broadcast, whatever you want to say it. It's not widespread. People want to see Terrence Crawford. They don't believe Crawford can sell. HBO, I already said, they did the same thing to Crawford when it came to, after the Postal fight. They pushed him to a pay-per-view because they didn't want to put the money up for Crawford. Then they didn't have a date for him for the rest of the year. Then Triple G and Jacobs pushed back to March, and they gave him the John Molina fight, which was a very exciting fight by most people's, standards. But at the end of the day, it's crazy. Black fighters see what they're doing, what Top Rank is doing. I mean, shit, they starting to push certain fighters to an app. You sign with Al Haymon, and they can go call Floyd Mayweather himself and tell you what you expect. He going to give you a lot of money up front. But guess what? He going to collect a lot on the back end as well. He going to front load, say, you want this amount of money, it's a big signing on it, sit in front of you. Adrian Broner had a story about Bob Arum, took him to his house and in front of him a lot of money, showed him a lot of money. And he said, no, fuck that. And he ended up, linking up with Al. He doing good. You know, people say, well, Adrian Broner shouldn't have passed up on that Rock Nation deal or that, you know, that Rock Boxing Nation deal. Do you fools know that if he left Al Haymon and joined Jay-Z, the nemesis, that even with that money he got from there, he still wouldn't be as, you know, his money still wouldn't be as fruitful and abundant as it is? Because Al Haymon is not just a regular boxing advisor. He's a financial advisor. You know, he has these guys investing. And their money is tripling up, quadrupling up. It's getting large interest. People don't understand that. They think these guys just got boxing money. Why do you think a guy like Peter Quillen didn't hesitate to give up his belt? Because Peter Quillen, he's investing in real estate. When Floyd Mayweather wanted the big mansion bill, he wanted a strip club, guess who put that in rotation? That's Al Haymon. So to a lot of these guys, Al Haymon is more of a father figure and a father financial figure more than just a boxing advisor. He cares about these guys legitimately. Andre Berto, never leave Al Haymon. Danny Jacobs, never leave Al Haymon. Antonio Tarver, always work with Al Haymon. Antonio Tarver ran up a bill in Las Vegas. Guess who paid that bill for Antonio Tarver? It was Al Haymon. Well, Showtime kicked him off because the PED uses Latif Coyote from calling fights. Al Haymon got him a job calling on Spike. So he takes care of these brothers, you know, during their boxing career and after their boxing career, and sets them up for greatness. Can Bob Arum offer that? Does his track record show that he care about his fighters after they retire? Absolutely not. They see the way they treat Manny Pacquiao, and these fighters should be aware. So he can say we had promising talks with some of them, but guess what? Actually, did you sign anybody? And what caliber of fighters did you talk to? I'm pretty sure, Danny Garcia didn't give a fuck. I'm pretty sure Adrian Broner already told you no. I'm pretty sure you ain't looking at Robert Beecher Jr. or Erzandi Lara. And Earl Spence, Earl Spence would probably be one of the guys that you think will go because how Premier Boxing Champions is treating him. But he loyal to Al, man. He said, Al, and set me up for life. That's loyalty. He ain't going nowhere. Now, already know the one motherfucker that might try to get up out of there. Keith Thurman might try to sign over the Top Rank to avoid Earl Spence. He might like his chances, and his voice sounds like he got a little bit more bass and confidence when you talk about Terrence Crawford. That may be the guy that he's trying to pry loose. And that should be the guy that Bob Arum truly targets. That's the guy with the bitch tendencies. If Earl, spent Earl or Adrian Broner or the Charlos spent Al Haymon and side with Bob Arum, I would be shot. Totally in shock. But if Keith Thurman did it, it wouldn't shock me at all because we know when you speak about Earl Spence, Keith Thurman's whole demeanor changes. Talk about Sean Porter, a little bit more confident. Talk about Danny Garcia, a lot more confident. Talk about Terrence Crawford, even more confident about fighting Terrence Crawford. So I think he'd be the one that run off on Al and sign with Bob Arum. And that might be one of the key cogs that Bob Arum is chopping it up with. All it takes is one. And if you take the head, the body will fall, right? In the head of the welterweight division, Bob is going to take, Keith Thurman. He took 2 belts with him. Now the power is shifted to Top Rank, but I hear Keith Thurman is signing Lou DiBella, though. So I think Keith Thurman is with a promoter. So that's what I was hearing. So I'm not 100% sure. I think he may be promoted by Lou DiBella, but don't quote me on that. But as far as the rest of them, Earl would be at the guy he'd be targeting. When Earl told, Oscar no. And, when he told Oscar De La Hoya, people say, oh, man, it was a dumb. How's it a dumb idea? Why would you go with Oscar De La Hoya and Al Haymon runs the welterweight division? Why would you do it? And you in a promotional contract. At least with Al Haymon, you can say, what? I'm gone. I'm gone. I'm going to go ahead and get a promoter, and I don't want to work with you no more. With Bob Arum, you tied in that contract. People know what Top Rank represents. Top Rank represents you sign the contract, you get front loaded a lot of money, your contract up, you got 1 fight left, you got to sign the extension just to get that 1 fight you got left, and your contract is forever, it's forever going until you're done. And then don't take no advances from Bob Arum. Then you in the shitter. Then you in the negative. Then you forever owe him. Then you in a lifetime contract like Manny Pacquiao. Okay? So, why would any of them do it? Why would any of the top fighters do it? Does he have anybody of prominence that these guys truly want to fight? Yeah, Crawford. Some welterweights may do it. Sean Porter? Maybe. Danny Garcia? Maybe. He can get a Crawford and a Manny Pacquiao combination, but we know Danny Garcia ain't trying to do shit but fight Keith Thurman right now. And he don't sound too confident when Terrence Crawford's name was brought up either. So Bob is being a snake. You know, they both Harvard brothers. They both graduated from Harvard. They both Harvard man, whatever you want to call them. But it is what it is. But the loophole, I'm going to end on this, he talked about, he said, I can just sign their fighters. And, you know, all Al Haymon really could do is say, I got a better deal for you to stick with Premier Boxing Champions and keep matching deals. But how much money does Al have to keep matching deals like he did with Golden Boy and Errol Spence? He gave Errol Spence $3.5 million. He fronted him $2 million, and he got a fight check for $1.5 million. You know, don't believe what Fat Dan Rayfield say all the time. So he walked away with that. Mikey Garcia, Golden Boy. Mikey Garcia, he offered Mikey Garcia more money for the Lipinets fight. And that's why the Adrian Broner-Lipinets fight probably didn't happen. You know, so he going to have to be out here matching offers. And we see Bob Arum ain't playing fair, but guess what? The top fighters is a loyalty. Now, some of the middle of the pack, lower level motherfuckers, he probably can snatch. But they going to regret it, especially if they black. Deontay Wilder with a promoter, so that ain't going to happen. So you look at the situation, and it is what it is. You know, we going to see who we can probably lose. I think this is all talk and psychological. And Al knows every move probably with his fighters before it happens. The top guys. Now you talk about the low 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th tier guys, probably not. You know, Bob Arum said, I got Luis Collazo. You know, who the fuck he gonna fight? Crawford. So you got to see what type of fighters he talking about. Don't forget, I'm going to link Fannon's video. It's more lengthy in detail. I got to finish watching it, but it started off really, really good. And I'll link this article link as well. Y'all know what it is, TB.